ready for another lesson?
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Back Row Banter, your favorite casual movie talk podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Adam Schwartz, and on today's episode, we got the Oscar noms are in and some other small news stories for you. We got no trailer talk this week. This is back-to-back weeks. Unfortunately, no trailer talk. We had a nice streak going for a while, but it seems like it's dried out a little bit. We'll get to the news streaming. It's going to be another light week, and what we're watching, and then our main review for the episode, The Boondock Saints. A timely piece, of course, since it is March. But speaking of March, and before we get to any of that, I'm joined today by the lucky leprechaun, Nathaniel Gingrich.
Hello.
Cheer.
It's back again.
Yeah, I can't do a good Irish accent, so I'm not going to try.
That's
I'm just going to go with movie phone guy. Hello.
How you doing, Nathaniel?
I'm good, man. How are you doing?
Not too bad.
I'm tired. I just got back from Arizona. I was there for a couple
Jet-
of
Oh, I
days.
didn't even know you went.
Yeah. I was over for a friend of mine's bachelor party. Shout out Luke Dexter.
Ooh, shout
How
out the
that?
newlywed, man.
Not quite newlywed yet, but newly bachelorized. Bachelor
Newly
partyized.
Gotcha.
Bachelorized.
Yeah,
How
so
was the weekend?
it's good, man. Yeah. Obviously, was a little bit rougher yesterday, but when I flew back home. But no, we're doing all right. Overall, I would say pretty positive weekend for all involved. So always
Cool.
good to see the friends. Always good to head back home, see the desert again, get recharged.
For sure. For
So-
sure. Was that did you say that was Phoenix? You said you
Yeah,
went to?
Scottsdale.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it was good. But now I'm definitely happy to be back home for sure and ready to keep going again.
Straight up.
That's
Also, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, yeah, that's dope, man. I got a buddy who just moved out to Phoenix about a month ago, and funny enough, we were contemplating going to visit him or my other friend in Boston, and flights were cheaper to get to Boston, so it looks like we're going to go visit him instead of going to Phoenix. So that's how we flipped that coin.
That's hilarious.
It's an easy coin to flip.
I was
Oh,
gonna
for sure,
say
man.
I can actually segue this here because I don't know if you guys have experienced this, but like since I've traveled like a couple times during quarantine pandemic,
Pandemic.
the last year, and like every time, like when like you would leave earlier or pre-pandemic, and you're just like, whatever, I'll go home when I go home. Now I'm like 2 days in, and I'm like, I miss Tyler, I miss Carolia, I miss my apartment. I feel like the time span you've gotten away is just like shortened just because I'm so used to being at home.
I'm
now.
always like
Yeah,
that, though. I
for
think I'm
sure.
always like, every time I'm done traveling, regardless of where I go, I'm just always ready to be home.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
always nice to
Nothing like
get
sleeping
back
in your
to
own
your
bed,
own
man.
bed. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's just
Nothing like
comfortable,
it.
man.
Also joining us today is the future face of Twitch, Tyler Vidalis. How you doing, Ty?
Good, bro. How are you?
I'm good.
What's that face you got going on right there, bud?
Oh, it's
Yeah.
just like, what's up, dude? You know?
Is that your Twitch face?
Yeah, dude. What's up, dude?
Future face of Twitch is just some guy squinting into his mic.
Yeah.
Oh, I
So
get
he
it.
has it.
It's typically
Good old
it's
visual
like-
gag.
Yeah, it's like that's the face I make like when I get sniped in Warzone. I don't know where the fuck
That
it
is
came
true.
from. And you're just like,
Yeah.
oh fuck.
Man, I can't believe you still play Warzone, man. I haven't played that game in
Oh,
months.
dude, I love it. I'm fairly certain I'm addicted
I think you are as well.
because it's like there's days where I'm like, this game is quite literally ruining my life. There have been years taken off of my life because of this game, and I just keep wanting. I gotta do it. I gotta play.
Yeah, it's you should get that looked into.
Yeah. Do we need to have an intervention here, Ty?
No, I'm okay.
Introduce
I'm
you-
gonna stop.
introduce you to some
I'm
other
gonna. I
games?
can stop whenever I want.
Yeah, intervention's the
Okay.
name of his favorite gun. You got to call it the COD intervention. A COD intervention.
And rounding out the squadron was squadron.
Squadron.
Yeah, rounding out the squadron is the spring sensation BlakeHolder.
What's going on, man?
Not much, dude. Not much. How was your week?
Good, man. Not too bad. A little
Things slow
busy at
down?
work. Was able to put my 2 weeks notice in today.
You're
That was always
Yo.
Yeah, man. So I'm
Fuck
smooth
your old
sailing now, dude.
job.
I'm trying to watch fucking A movie a day.
So many movies, yeah. What we're watching is finally going to pop off a little bit.
Yeah, man. So I should have an update for you guys.
Thank
next
God,
week
because
on
it's not
Oh,
for
that's
me
cool.
this week.
All right. Well, let's get into the episode here, boys. We got a lot to go
Let's
over.
get in.
Right into the news. Number one news story for the day. 2021 Oscar nominations are in, guys.
Read them and weep.
Woo.
Nathaniel, you said you had a chance to look over them a little bit. Any immediate thoughts?
I
Any hot takes?
browsed them pretty quick. I'll take a little bit of a deeper look here, see if there's anything that jumps off.
Sure.
The bat.
Well, while you do that, I'll read them off a little bit. So, for Best Picture,
look.
we got 8 nominations here. We got The Father, Judas and the Black Messiah, Mank, Minari, Nomadland, Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, and The Trial of the Chicago 7. I have seen all of one of these movies.
Yeah, I know.
Nathaniel, you've seen at least 2.
Yeah, I know. So a lot of these are available on streaming, which is nice.
Yes.
But yeah, we've seen Judas and the Black Messiah. I have seen Nomadland and Promising Young Woman as well.
Oh, you have seen Promising Young Woman.
Yes,
Okay.
I did.
I remember you mentioning that, I think, at one point.
Yeah, I think it was probably on one of what we're watchings.
Yeah.
And then Sound of Metal you can get on Amazon, and Trial of Chicago 7 I know is on Netflix. Mank is also on Netflix.
Oh, okay.
Minari I think is out in theaters still. I do really want to see
That's
that.
an A24, I believe.
Yeah, which means I'll probably go to Prime, or you might be able to rent it on Prime right now. But yeah, I really want to check that out as well. Yeah, I mean it's like I kind of think a lot of people have been and noticed about. There seems to be a general effort to make a more diverse kind of spread, for sure. In terms of kind of who is being represented, what the content of the films are representing, as well as the people making them and kind of the craftsmen around that. I think that's all really great. I think that's long overdue in a lot of ways, for sure. I would really love to see more genre representation at the Oscars, which I think we were kind of talking about a little bit earlier. Some best animated features, that's great for animated features, but there's like a film like Your Name or a film like, what came out, Into the Spider-Verse, I think has just as much credence of being a best picture as best animated film. And overall too, like the Oscars have always kind of been an American film, or like a lot of times they throw British films in too, but last year Parasite won, so I'd like to see more of that kind of thing too. So
sure.
But yeah, still pretty cool. I'll definitely check it out.
Sorry, what did you say?
I said I'll definitely check it out. This is the one award show that I will always watch, for sure.
Agreed. Yeah, this is the one we talked about a little bit before pod, but this is the one I usually tune into out of all of them. I probably am going to start trying to knock a few of these off my watch list, because I've only seen one of them, and that's I think I talked about it once before on pod, but it's usually not the case. I've usually seen 2 or 3 before these noms come out, because I want to go see them in theaters, but because theaters have been closed, it's hard to get a gauge on what's good, what's trending. So it hasn't been as easy to pick these out. So I think now that we have the official list, I might try to knock a few of these out.
Yeah, I know another area that's been kind of getting a little bit of buzz or kind of activity, I guess, and it's not necessarily the best, is the Best Supporting Actor race, in which you have both Daniel Kaluuya and Lakeith Stanfield nominated for Judas and the Black Messiah. So who is the lead actor in that film?
Yeah, that is interesting.
It's an interesting question. But yeah.
Yeah, who is the lead in that film if it's neither of them?
I would love to see
who Stanfield was, but
That's kind of what I was thinking.
I would love to see one of those guys maybe moved up to the best actor conversation, so that maybe Delroy Lindo from episode 0's The Five Bloods could have been slotted in there instead.
Sure.
Okay, yeah.
But
best director is what I was looking for. We got Lee Isaac Chung for Minari, Emerald Fennell for Promising Young Woman, David Fincher for Mank, Chloe Zhao for Nomadland, and Thomas Vinterberg for Another Round.
which I think is the one with Mads Mikkelsen.
That is only a Google search away, because I'm not too familiar, to be honest. Yes, it is.
Yeah, could you read the summary for that one? Because I don't really know that one as well either. I think it has to do with him being drunk.
Yes, the IMDb summary is 4 friends, all high school teachers, test a theory that they will improve their lives by improve their lives by maintaining a constant level of alcohol in their blood.
Okay. I definitely want to see that movie.
Yeah, this is I also kind of want to see it. This is not. That also doesn't sound like a role Mads Mikkelsen is typically gonna play. So that would be very interesting to see.
Yeah, I would say out of all of these, I've seen Nomadland. It's interesting because I actually think some of the direction is some of the areas where Nomadland is a little bit weaker. So I would be interested to hear kind of people's opinions on that. Promising Young Woman was directed really well from memory as well. A lot of really interesting shots, and kind of how she plays with space and how she frames conversations was really, really good. Haven't seen Minari. Mank haven't seen, and Another Round we've just found out about, so do really want to see that.
I've heard some good things about Minari, and that's probably the one I'm most interested in checking.
Yeah,
out.
it's the one. It's the one that feels like it's getting the most buzz on Twitter with kind of my film Twitter currently. Like it's kind of it's riding its wave right now.
Yeah. And that's Steven Yeun is in it, and who's nominated for Best Actor actually. Who's from The Walking Dead, and I haven't seen him really in anything since then. So he's
been doing a lot of, I feel like a lot of smaller stuff. He's popped up in a couple A24 movies, and then he's also been doing like I know he was in like a couple different Blumhouse movies, I think. Well, I feel like I saw him in something else too that I really liked, but I can't remember what it was now.
I also definitely saw him in something that I just don't remember what it is. Like I said, I haven't only seen him since The Walking Dead. Like I haven't seen him at all. It's not like I haven't seen him at all since The Walking Dead, but he hasn't really stayed in the mainstream that much. So.
Yeah, The Five Bloods is probably the one that I think is missing most on here. I really would have liked to see more representation from that, but that's kind of like another one of those January early year movies that gets forgot about. And I know like even from our episode 0, I think we were a little bit more split than I was, but
we were very split.
Yeah,
and I would be interested to see going back and maybe rewatching that where I would land on it, but I don't remember loving that movie.
Yeah,
sure.
I think I'm with you on that part, Adam. I think me and you were kind of on that line. But yeah, you wish they'd kind of get some more representation on that. And Chadwick Boseman's in that as well. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
So usually as we kind of see when people are, they do pass on to the afterlife, usually are credited for stuff, that kind of makes things bigger. But it seems like that wasn't even the case with this. So.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah. I'm pretty sure that movie came out before he had passed away too, if I remember.
It was
I believe so. Yeah, because he passed away in April or something like that.
No, it was summer because we were playing volleyball, so it would have been June, July. That movie, I think.
Oh yeah, because I was getting ready to literally cry. Yeah.
Pretty sure we reported on it. So it must have been after July.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, speaking of Chadwick, he's nominated for Best Actor for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, along with Riz Ahmed for Sound of Metal, Anthony Hopkins for The Father, Gary Oldman for Mank, and Steven Yeun, as previously mentioned, for Minari.
Yeah, I feel like he'll probably win that.
Who?
Chadwick. Yeah, unless Steven Yeun is just like incredible in Minari. I don't think, from what I've heard, no one's really talking about Gary Oldman and Mank. That's a perfect example of what I was talking about earlier with most acting, where like he's putting on a lot of makeup, he's doing a historical figure. It's kind of like one of those things, which we saw him do the other couple years ago in Churchill too. So, I'll be surprised. I would be surprised if the Academy goes away from Chadwick on that one, but we'll see.
Yeah, because he was great in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom.
Yeah, and I think too him also being in The Five Bloods this year doesn't hurt either.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. For Best Actress, you have Viola Davis for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Andra Day, The United States versus Billie Holiday, Vanessa Kirby for Pieces of a Woman, Frances McDormand for Nomadland, and Carey Mulligan for Promising Young Woman.
I think personally, out of all of those I've seen, I think I would probably go Frances McDormand on that one. But it would be a toss up for me. I don't know. I'm just like rating this now. Sorry, like giving my own opinions.
It's tough for me to give any opinions because I just haven't seen many of these movies.
Yeah,
so.
True. Yeah.
Best Supporting Actor is going to be Sacha Baron Cohen for The Trial of the Chicago 7, Daniel Kaluuya for Judas and the Black Messiah, Leslie Odom Jr. for One Night in Miami, Paul Raci for Sound of Metal, and Lakeith Stanfield for Judas and the Black Messiah. Again, don't have a super knowledgeable opinion, but Daniel Kaluuya was incredible in Judas, so I really hope he gets it.
For sure.
And then we'll probably just do Best Supporting Actress and Original Screenplay because there are a lot of categories we can go through, and we don't really have time for all of them unless you guys have one that you guys wanted to talk about. But for Best Supporting Actress, we got Maria Bakalova for Borat subsequent movie film.
Okay.
Glenn Close for Hillbilly Elegy. How do you pronounce
Hillbilly
that?
Elegy.
Elegy. There you go. Olivia Colman for The Father. Amanda Seyfried. I don't know. For Make. And Young Jung Yoon for Minari.
Gotcha.
Jung Yoon. And then original screenplay is Judas and the Black Messiah, Minari, Promising Young Women, Sound of Metal, and The Trial of the Chicago 7. So.
Wait, Trial of Chicago 7's original screenplay?
Yeah.
Huh. I thought it was adapted from a book, but I guess that makes sense too. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Be interested to see what those come out. Maybe we might talk about it a little bit more as they come out or once.
Yeah, I would be down to do. Depending, we could talk off pod about this, but I'd be down to do some kind of Oscar predictions episode and
that would be cool. Yeah,
definitely, especially if we kind of all commit to maybe watching a few more of these on the best picture list and
see where they end up.
A little bit more
when
knowledgeable than
are the Oscars? I don't pay attention to any of this. I don't watch any award shows.
You don't watch them at all?
No.
Okay.
No, just not my thing.
All right, that's fair.
Yeah.
April 25th.
Blake, are you into the Oscars at all?
I've paid attention a little bit, to be honest, but nowhere near enough to even have like an articulated opinion on it.
I got you.
Good for you.
All right.
Yeah, man, I've learned the older I've got. The less I know, I just don't give my opinion.
Maybe we'll do
a church rate.
Maybe we'll do a spin-off episode, Adam, where you and I can go nuts, film nuts.
A little bit, yeah. All right, let's do.
Well, then Blake and I are going to do our own fucking show.
All right, do it. How about how much you hate the Oscars?
Whoa. I said do an episode, not a whole nother show, but okay.
You got a whole nother show.
Podcast spinoff.
Yeah. We don't need to start the Back Row Banter network just yet.
The Back Row Banter expanded universe.
Yeah, we don't need that quite yet.
We'll get there one day, I'm sure. Netflix tests cracking down on password sharing. That's going to be our next news story for you guys.
Gosh,
have you guys
darn
heard about this at all?
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, that's.
Who is this? Netflix?
Tough.
This is Netflix, yeah. So they are testing out. This is not. They don't
Ben.
really have any plans for rolling it out, and they haven't really uniformly done anything. But they are testing a system that, according to the article, will prompt a viewer to verify their identity. So either with like a texted or emailed code to the account's owner, and that's how you would verify that. Or you can do a verify later, which gives the viewer an unspecified additional amount of time.
Yeah, we get this test actually on our Xbox.
Yeah.
Did you really?
Yeah, we've had it for like a month or so now.
Yeah.
So how does that work then?
You literally just hit
break it
verify
down?
later and then nothing happens. They just ask you the next time you log in.
Sure.
Yeah, it's clearly in test
Easy
right
way
now.
around it.
I'm sure they're logging everyone who hits verify later, and then like an unspecified amount of time from now, say like when Disney Plus passes them in subscribers, they're just gonna nuke the system, and just everyone's gonna have to pay.
Which is
for
fine.
it.
I'll just text whoever I have, and then I'll just be like, hey, and just give me the code, and they'll be like, cool.
Yeah.
Right. And that's
So-
what I was thinking, Tyler. I mean, because it's like at this point, I mean, I have my own Netflix now. I got it probably a few years back. But the only people who even have my password, like dear friends of mine anyways.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it
like,
doesn't even
I-
matter.
shout
Anyone
out
who
to
would ask
Foley.
me,
I've
hey,
had
what's the
his
code?
since he
I'd be
wore
like,
the-
for sure.
Yeah. I've had Foley since he moved in.
Allegedly,
And that was 6 years ago.
we're never getting
Right.
sponsored by Netflix now.
Fuck them.
Yeah.
They'll give us money.
Well,
They're handing cash to anybody who's got a fucking idea.
Right.
I
We should come up
think
with
that's
a
part of the
good
problem. I think they may be running out of cash, and like they're kind of hitting their
Sure.
viewership cap in terms of like not bringing in new people on content. Like everyone who's gonna have Netflix kind of already has Netflix.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
then they're seeing. I'll bet they're starting to see subscriptions dwindle when
They
things like
are the
HBO
oldest, are they not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
kind of.
They're
They were the
OG
first.
kinda.
Sure.
Yeah. they're trying not to get MySpaced. But you got like HBO Max, Disney Plus releasing name brand huge films on there now. I bet subscriptions are down.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be
Makes
surprised
sense.
if this becomes a reality sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
You got a point.
Well, guess what, Netflix? I have real friends, okay? Real fucking friends.
Well, it's just
Yeah,
like
they didn't account for that one.
Everyone's got to have like an account on there, right? Too. So you
can see.
if you have 4 accounts on there, yeah.
You can have I think more than 4. I think
it's up to I think
Right.
it's up to 8 or
But
something. Like that.
maybe that's like how they're gonna manage the
Right.
users.
Yeah. That
Oh,
makes
true.
sense.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I share pretty much all my passwords with my family, so like it would just be a matter of texting someone, "Hey, I need to verify again" or something, and then they
Yeah.
have to
Yeah,
do it.
exactly.
So this is not something that concerns me too much if that's how they're going to go about it. If it is like they do something like region lock it, now that would be kind of fucked, because I think, I don't know, that would really screw over a lot of people if
Right.
it's like you have to set your home location and you can only stream from that location. That would really suck.
Yeah, that'd be
'Cause
tough.
that's how
You'd hope they
like
don't do
YouTube
that.
TV does
I
that.
can't foresee them doing that. I mean, the whole point of being able to stream something is easy convenience, and you can do it from wherever you want.
That's true. That's a good point. All right. Well, we can, if you don't want to stream wherever you want, you can go to movie theater, and especially go to movie theater in LA, as movie theaters in Los Angeles are reopening as of this weekend, the weekend of March, 19th through the 21st. So LA will be reopening their theaters to 25% capacity, so not fully reopened, but
Okay.
this, along with New York, are basically both the 2 biggest box offices and the 2 biggest cities for the box office are going to be reopened to some extent. So pretty good news for Hollywood, at least. Was that applause noise? It's
Yes,
cutting
it
in
is.
and out.
Yes.
Okay, good. Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
Even though it's not like I'm living in LA, but this is still a good thing for Hollywood.
For
For
sure.
LA, man. Happy for them.
Literally.
Yeah.
Good thing for Hollywood, literally.
It's true. Yeah.
As long as
Illi-
we keep theaters alive.
Yeah, I think Illinois is at 40% capacity or something like
Somewhere
that.
in there, 30,
Yeah.
35, 40, I want to say.
I went to the movies this past week, so
Wow.
Gasp.
yeah,
I think there are select theaters open where I'm at.
you should go. Do yourself a
I really
favor.
want to. I might go see Nomadland, I think, or Minari. I think I saw Minari's in theaters too.
Yeah, No
So
Man
I'm-
Land's, I'm pretty sure, is available on Amazon Prime now.
It is. You're right. Maybe
Yeah.
I won't spend too
But-
much money.
Minari or something else. I don't know. Go see a movie.
Yeah, I'll go see some.
I was gonna say we've been talking about going to movies, and he's like, "Nah, I don't want to spend the money."
I don't know. If it's
You
not,
son
if
of
it's
a
not
bitch!
Amazon
You're part of the problem.
Maybe fine. You know what, Ty? I'll go see Nomadland in theaters if it's available. Just to spite you.
God, you're not. You're doing me a favor.
Moving on. Next story.
Well, speaking of the box office, Avatar passes Avengers Endgame to once again rule as top grossing pick at global box office. So Avatar had a re-release in the Chinese theaters this past week, and with that, they grossed the 8 million they needed to eclipse Endgame and have reclaimed their spot as the #1 grossing film of all time.
Cool.
What do you guys think? We get a Zack Snyder cut of Endgame
Endgame?
next.
I'm sure there'll be a 30th anniversary release or something, and it'll be back in theaters, and we'll all go crazy for it.
Do you
It's not
think?
Endgame.
All right,
Yeah.
what do you think can beat
Yeah.
what can beat Avatar at this point? If not,
Oh
Avengers?
man, Jesus.
It would have to be something that is.
It'd have to be some kind of Star Wars.
That'd be
film,
groundbreaking.
or-
Similar to how. Go ahead.
I guess you're right. Something groundbreaking, because Avatar was with the 3D. That's the
Yeah,
whole
people
reason.
just saw it.
I think it's going to be
Form.
something like that, and I don't even know what that technology would be. You know what I mean? But I think that's the only way that something like that is going to get crushed.
Yeah, and remember that all of those 3D prices were at a premium too, so people were
Yeah.
paying 120
more.
bucks, 130 bucks for their family to go see a movie or
Mhm.
something like that.
Right.
And people saw it multiple times too.
For sure.
Yeah, if Avengers doesn't do it, I don't see how anything can. In my mind,
Mhm.
re-releasing it in China is kind of bullshit. So Endgame's still the #1, and I think
Yeah,
I
it's
think
just
most people are going to be
stupid.
fine with that.
Yeah, they don't care.
I thought I saw like the Russo brothers like addressed it, like handed it off to them. Yeah, if I was me, I'd be like, fuck that, boys. I wouldn't say anything.
I'd be kind of pissed if I was them, but
yeah,
they
but
said, the Russo brothers tweeted, "Passing the gauntlet back to you at Jim Cameron."
Yeah, so cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's probably not James Cameron's fault. I doubt he has any input on if they're releasing it in China or something like that.
They just call him and they're like, "Hey, you're gonna get a check in the mail."
Oh yeah. I mean, that's Disney, right? So that's technically Disney now.
Yeah,
and
it's under Disney now.
So they're just releasing it to China because they're gonna make so much money off of that. And if it was never there before, this is just one they had in the can probably, and it'll probably offset some like COVID losses for sure.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. Great. The 2 top grossing movies of all time are owned by the same company. This is awesome.
Yeah, this is great. When's the last time any of you have seen Avatar?
Tyler and I watched it about
fuck yeah, we did.
9 months ago or so.
Really?
How does it hold up?
It's
great.
Still great.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah.
It is kind of like if you can get in like the right headspace, or if you just kind of go into it and then like just kind of let it wash over you, it is still a movie that like the visuals are still stunning. Like James Cameron knows how to direct a fucking movie, so like he puts the camera in the right place. He has a good sense of it. It works best when it's an action movie for sure, and you're seeing the world. The story is definitely a little thin, but that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a fundamental story that we've kind of seen a lot of times before.
It's also a James Cameron film. Like he's kind of known for that.
Yeah, and it works. Yeah. It works really well. His kind of philosophy is every dollar always goes up on screen. So
sure shit does.
Blake, I cut you off. What were you gonna say before?
I was gonna say, yeah, dude. I can tell you the last time I saw Avatar, it's easily been, I'd say, 2+ years, 3+ years.
I don't think I've seen it since it came out. Before that, it'd been a long time for me.
Yeah, just because it's just a long view.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I've just never sat back down to rewatch it.
And you almost kind of have to. The only way you kind of get really excited about it is if maybe you find somebody that like hasn't quite seen it yet, or maybe saw it once like 10 years ago
when
and
they were still a kid or something.
Exactly. Yeah, that's kind of like where I find my true joy, and I guess most movies rewatching if I can find somebody that hasn't watched it. But Avatar
and I think
specifically,
I think too the lack of sequels have definitely hurt it. Like it's a movie that really doesn't have a ton of cultural cachet anymore.
It's got one.
It won't have a lack of
sequels
sequels for much longer.
Supposedly,
allegedly.
Yeah,
for sure. Did you guys see Avatar in theater?
Yes.
I did. Yeah, I was like 9.
I think.
How old does that make you guys feel?
Man, because I remember seeing that. I think that came out in January because I remember seeing that on my birthday.
I kind of remember seeing it over winter break as well.
Yeah, I think it was Christmas. I'm pretty sure it was Christmas season.
God, I don't know. 2009.
December 18th, 2009.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I definitely went like before. It was like my birthday, like gathering with my buddies.
I was graduating high school.
PG-13, right? Is it PG?
I saw it on my birthday as well,
13.
Too. It was like my birthday party too that we like went. Yeah, a bunch of us went and saw it together.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it worked out because it was age like okay, like it's not rated R. Obviously, we can go see it without like a parent. We can just get dropped off. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah, man, it was a cool experience. Long movie to sit through though at age 13. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, that's probably true too.
I was all set up with my slushie. I'm sure.
Yeah,
slushie is always my go-to concession at a movie theater.
Oh, still to this day.
Yeah,
every time.
I never get them.
Popcorn.
Slushy popcorn. Yep.
Really?
Every time, dude.
I barely, honestly, I barely ever eat when I'm at the movie theater. The only reason that stemmed though for me was because I started going by myself early in the morning, and all I wanted was my coffee.
Right.
And that's all. And AMC South Barrington, I got to know them so well. They let me bring my own coffee, so I didn't even have to pay for it. And now they have coffee there.
Oh yeah.
In the morning.
Do they really?
Yeah, they do. So yeah, I'm used to not really getting anything. The last time we went though, over the week, Leah and I got popcorn and a drink. So
yeah, man. Adam's right on the head, man. Slushy popcorn every time, dude.
Popcorn.
I used to do dots when I was little.
What favorite slushy?
Dots are terrible.
Dude, I still mix it like I'm fucking 10 years old.
You go mixing? Oh, yeah. I've never mixed it before. I go if they have Coke, if it's an AMC, I go straight for the Coke slushy.
So when I say mix, that's the only one I'm not putting in.
I was gonna say, so you do the blue red.
Yeah, blue red every time.
See, dude, I'm a huge fan of anything that has to do with like grape. So if you mix both of those and it comes out to like red and blue, right? Purple grape.
sure.
So I mean, if it has anything to resemble grape, I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't think mixing the flavors will give you the color of grape.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know. I've never mixed them before. I don't really drink slushies. I'm just saying.
I don't know if it works that way.
I was gonna say if that's the thought process behind it, then
you know what? I like the thought process. I see where you're coming from.
I reckon there is some that have maybe a grape slushy too.
Maybe,
Yeah, it's somewhere.
I'm sure there is.
yeah, I love grapes.
Let's move on. We got a long episode.
Avatar 2, for those of you who are wondering, is coming out December 16th, 2022 as of now.
Yeah.
Allegedly. Well, that's most likely getting delayed. Those things have been delayed God knows how many times.
Like
8 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's only about a year and a half from now, though, when you think about it. We're about to be 4 months into 2021.
Stop.
Sheesh. All right. Well, we got 2 more news stories for you. They'll be quick ones. The Batman has officially wrapped production.
Yes, sir.
Very excited for this.
Yeah, it's dope, man.
Batman's new release date is March 4th, 2022. So just about a year out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not great, but it'll come eventually. Because those faced a series of
Wasn't it
delays
going to be
'cause
like
of COVID.
October this year, they thought originally?
They originally pushed it back to October.
I think
And
you're
they
onto
could put-
something, Nathaniel. I think that might have been like the original release.
Right. All right. Whatever. It'll come out when it comes out.
Exactly.
Well, we'll get here.
All right. And then for our last news story of the day, Michael B. Jordan directed Creed 3 sets release date. So Michael B. Jordan has officially signed a deal with MGM to star in, produce, and direct Creed 3. This will be his directorial debut. Thoughts here, guys? I haven't seen Creed 1 or 2. They're ones that I've wanted to go see, but then I have to go watch the Rockies, and then it's just
Right.
So
Yeah.
I should probably do that sometime.
I was gonna say, I was like, I know he didn't direct the first two.
No, the
Yeah,
first
this is
one.
this is first directing.
First
Yeah,
one.
it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Just to kind of get that side of the business from him, right? But I like the first two. I actually don't mind him at all.
Was it the first Creed? It was nominated for a few Oscars, I believe.
Yeah. Both Creeds are really, really good movies.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't mind them all. I mean, I've watched both of them more than once, like since I've seen it in theaters. You know what I mean? Where I've rewatched the second one, maybe I don't know, probably the past year.
Yeah,
Sure.
I've seen the first one a lot. I think I've only honestly pieced together the second one. I've never sat down and watched it completely.
Mm-hmm.
But
the second one's not bad though, man.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
It's
And
been
like
on
of the
Hulu for a
parts that I've
long
seen,
time.
it's good. And I love Michael B. Jordan. I mean, he's a slayer. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I'll definitely probably get around to it though, especially the third one coming out.
Yeah, I really
Sure.
like them both. I will definitely watch this, and excited to see where he does as a director.
Yeah, he had a good quote in the story. He said, "Directing has always been an aspiration, but the timing had to be right," said Jordan in a statement. Creed 3 is that moment, a time in my life where I've grown more sure of who I am, holding agency in my own story, maturing personally, growing professionally, and learning from the greats like Ryan Coogler, most recently Denzel Washington, and other top-tier directors I respect, all of which sets the table for this moment.
Yeah, I think he pretty much hit the nail on the head at that point. If he's going to learn from guys, those are a bunch of really good guys to learn from.
Yep.
And it seems like he's always been kind of in a role where he's wanted to learn and that kind of stuff. Like you always kind of hear stories of him working with those guys.
Yeah.
So that doesn't shock me, and hope he does a good job.
Sure.
Me too.
I didn't know Denzel Washington has directorials under his belt.
Oh yeah, he does.
He's
He does.
I had no idea.
Yeah, he's done probably 5 or 6 movies, maybe somewhere in there.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's been more recently because he's been producing more, I think.
Okay. Right. And can you kind of break down the I guess as brief as you can, because you've definitely told me before the difference between like directing and producing. Could you kind of give that to like
Oh yeah,
the average viewer?
yeah. Producers are the money men generally. So
Right.
if you're a production company or you're part of a studio or you're a producer yourself, you buy scripts or you hear about scripts, you bring people in scripts, or you kind of decide you want to set up a movie, and then you're in job of kind of contacting everyone, getting everyone under contract. If you're with a studio, that might mean you're working with certain actors or or if you're, let's say it's someone like Brad Pitt or Denzel Washington who have set up their own company, they may need to team with like a larger distributor to kind of make so that the movie gets out there and that kind of things. So there are a lot of the admin work as well as creative input, because at the end of the day they also control like. They have a certain level of control of like, I don't know if I should do this here. If we want this to be like this style of movie.
Sure.
The director is the guy that's there hands on every day, saying this is the shot that I want here. We're kind of setting up the scenes and making sure they flow right, and kind of are responsible for the vision of the film. In that aspect, obviously, then it goes on to like things like editing or post-production and composing, where a lot of the film takes place and takes shape there, but the raw footage and all of the performances are under the hand of the director and kind of capturing them.
Cool.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting, especially to me for sure. But yeah, that's kind of like a breakdown. There's obviously way more nuance in there too.
I'm not a
person.
Like I said, I remember you've kind of broken that down to me before at the store, and I just wanted to break that down for somebody else, because even when my friends ask the difference, it's still kind of difficult for me to tell.
Yeah, director is definitely the one that people are more familiar with. It's the more kind of on screen. People know different directors.
You're like the quarterback,
right? Yeah.
Everybody knows your name. You're the one that threw the game-winning pass.
Yeah, producers would be like your GM.
Yep.
There you go.
Or if like your director may be your head coach, then your
manager,
your producer's your GM.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good metaphor for it.
Sports analogies.
Yeah, sports analogies always work.
They never fail.
But yeah, what we're watching?
Trailer talk.
Trailer
just kidding.
talk.
New streaming.
New to streaming.
Kidding. It's a light week for the new to streaming here.
What we got on there?
For the week of 3/14 through 3/20. To Netflix, we got the BFG from 2016, so the Big Friendly Giant to screen adaptation. And then the last blockbuster
There we go.
documentary, which is I saw something on Twitter which I thought was really funny, but it was like, imagine killing a business and then making a documentary about it.
Oh yeah.
I think I saw. I think I might have saw that on my Instagram.
Yeah,
Cold-blooded.
Yeah, Netflix is sick for that, man, but they're about to pull it off. So
yeah, I honestly, if I check that out, it seems like a good doc.
I think I'm gonna see both of those. I haven't seen BFG yet.
I haven't seen BFG either. I remember when it came out, it got some good reviews.
Yeah, I mean Spielberg. Spielberg on his worst day is better than most regular Netflix movies. So.
Oh yeah, no, definitely true there. Yeah, I would take any mediocre Spielberg movie over Project Power. So
True.
Project Power.
It's the cream of the crop of Netflix, man.
All right, and then also coming to Netflix is Jiu-Jitsu from 2020. Read the description. Let me read the description here. Nicolas Cage features in this sci-fi epic about an ancient order of fighters battling powerful space invaders.
Okay.
That sounds terrible, dude.
Unreal.
And
What's Nicolas Cage up to, man? I say that, but then I also saw in the headlines that he recently got married for a 5th time this past week. So congrats, Nick.
Congrats to Nick Cage.
Yeah.
All right. Amazon Prime has got nothing. Same thing with Hulu. They don't like you, man.
Hurtful.
They just don't like. Yeah, it's unfortunate. HBO Max has got Superman the animated series, and then the long-awaited Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Dun, 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 dun.
I've heard that people have heard positive things.
Here's what I know. We didn't address this, and this wasn't in news of the week or anything like that. But this leaked.
Yeah.
If
I
you,
was thinking about covering it, I was like,
yeah. So apparently, if you were in a certain location for the last time at some point last week, if you started Tom and Jerry, and instead of getting Tom and Jerry, you got the first 2 hours of Zack Snyder's Justice League. So yeah. I have 2 things that I feel like I can tell the pod that we can talk about.
Sure.
But if anyone wants to go into this completely blind, they're not plot specific or anything like that, but they are about the movie. So if anyone wants to go into this completely blind, come back in about 30 seconds.
Fully.
Or so. Yeah, fully. Apparently, someone jokingly has said that 50% of the movie is in slow motion.
No, don't.
That's incredible.
And
hilarious.
I can confirm it is in the 1:33 aspect ratio.
No way.
Apparently,
brutal.
it is because that is the ratio that they use if the film goes to IMAX cinemas.
Got it.
Which is a stupid idea on so many levels. I somewhat don't blame Zack Snyder for this, but I do blame someone at HBO for not telling him this, because this movie was never going to have a commercial release, and it's not having a cinema release now. So at least in America, everyone is going to get this boxed up version of it.
He started this before,
which is why it's okay. Why I'm allowing it to happen.
And so I think he probably already had a lot, and to reshoot that would be a pain 100%. In the ass.
But I'm also concerned that they've done like this weird pan and scan so that like all of the bits that aren't supposed to be in that aspect ratio will be like cut off and put in that aspect ratio. I don't know. But anyways, yeah. So those are the two things we know. I know. I'm blown away by this movie.
So how is that ratio going to look on a TV?
It's going to look like what the trailers look like, where there's the boxes on the side.
It'll be all the bars on the side, like you're watching something from like the 90s almost.
Yeah. So it'll be tall, but it'll be almost like a perfectly square image.
Second episode of WandaVision.
Yeah, which I don't think he watched.
That's an empty reference for me.
So is that similar to how what's the aspect? Is it ratio?
Yeah.
Is that the?
Yep.
So what is it for the Lighthouse? Is that the same?
Similar. So it'll be a little bit wider than the Lighthouse. I was actually going to ask you if you'd seen the Lighthouse. Yeah, it'll be a little bit. It'll be a little bit wider than Lighthouse, but pretty close.
Gotcha.
Because if I remember correctly, Lighthouse is perfectly square. I think that's the old ratio.
If I remember watching that.
And I think this one will be a little bit taller, but we'll see. So yeah, it'll be very, very similar.
Okay, cool.
We didn't report on this, but I sent it in the group chat a couple weeks ago, but they have confirmed that there will be a black and white version of this movie.
Oh my god!
That's what I was
predicted as well.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to get to you guys. What would you rather watch it in? Would you rather watch it in color? Or?
I think I'd have to watch it in color first time around, but I'm not opposed to after seeing it if I make a judgment call on whether I think it would be better in black and white, because I do think there are things that are better in black and white.
Yeah, man, because I end up, when I saw that they were going to give this film a black and white release, I was doing some research on that, and Mad Max has a black and white release, and people say, like, that's fucking awesome in black and white, and I haven't seen it in black and white.
Yeah, I think... One of the yes, there are certain films that look great in black and white. One of the reasons that Mad Max looks incredible in black and white is that Mad Max has so much contrast in it, and is like in color. It is a movie that is pumped to the gills with color, with color and everything. So when you go transition it to black and white, it's really black, white, and gray. And so you have all of this color on there, which still looks incredible, but it's just given this different hue to it. Zack Snyder is not like that.
No, it's going to be like a very hard.
I think it will look good in black and white because I think he secretly wants to shoot this in black and white.
100%.
But yeah, maybe that's why. Maybe that's the battle that HBO fought. He's like, I want to do it in black and white and in an IMAX aspect ratio.
Like,
they're like, you can have one.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, so this I think would also work in black and white. The original Justice League, the non-Snyder cut version, I imagine would look awful.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, it'd be terrible.
Just because that was just a mess in color.
I think the reason I'm okay with it is because there's a lot of like obviously a lot of these superhero movies and everything, they're from comic books, and a lot of comic books came from black and white. There was no color.
Sure,
they didn't really have a whole lot of color in them. That's why I'm okay with like The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead first season black and white is probably one of the greatest things I've ever seen on television.
Right,
good.
And yeah, so I'm like Mad Max. Obviously, that's a good one. Like I
think Logan's the other big one that did a black and white cut a few years ago. Yeah. And if I remember right, that one like it was received okay, but like not the same level as like the Mad Max one for sure.
So
sorry.
All right. Well, our last piece of new streaming to Disney Plus, you're gonna get Falcon and the Winter Soldier episode 1.
Woo!
I'm optimistic. I think after WandaVision, my expectations are now appropriately set, and I think this will be hopefully another solid run.
I think it has to be. I think this is something that people have been waiting for far longer and has more support behind it than WandaVision, and WandaVision only gave it more of a hype factor.
Yeah, did you guys see in the making of? Did you hear anything about that or anything like that? I know a couple of the other podcasts that I've been listening to have kind of been reporting on it, and like apparently WandaVision like wasn't even done until like 3 weeks before the first episode was set to come out, and I thought it had been like pretty much in the can already.
Yeah.
And that is all that COVID did affect the production. So the last episode was going to have more kind of an epic battle to it, but it actually got kind of cut down and pared out, and like whole scenes were omitted. Like there was a whole other storyline with like the kids and the fake Pietro and like going to fight Agatha Harkness's rabbit. Spoilers for WandaVision, by the way. Sorry, everyone. And like that was gonna be like revealed to be a demon and stuff like that. So they were gonna have like more of it, and like Darcy had more of a role, but like all of that had to get cut to COVID basically. So makes me kind of feel a little bit better about it. And like they kind of like made the best of kind of a bad situation. Yeah. So that does give me a little bit more hope for like things like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, because I think we all thought WandaVision started incredible. Yeah. And like the only issues that folks had was that they didn't quite nail the ending, but at least that tells you that maybe they had more plans to do so. So
confidence.
Yeah. Well, speaking of WandaVision, do we want to have a little WandaVision segment? Because I did watch the season finale.
Oh, well, yeah. I forgot we hadn't done that yet.
We didn't do it.
How are we on time?
We're about 45 minutes into the episode itself.
Hey, you guys are good. Go for whatever you want, man.
All right, we'll make it quick.
Okay.
WandaVision spoilers. For anybody that hasn't seen WandaVision with its entirety, go ahead and check the episode description. I will put a timestamp down for you to jump to where you can catch the rest of the new to streaming. What are you guys' thoughts on the season finale? I guess season as a whole. Where'd you guys come down on it?
I really enjoyed the season overall. It exceeded my expectations, especially when I first heard about the show and what they were going to be doing with it. And I think overall it's really fun. I think I did have a few issues with the last episode. Kind of maybe if you heard me talking a little bit about it earlier, there were points that I thought like it jumped into like kind of a big laser fest kind of thing, and they didn't quite do as much interesting stuff with it. Really liked Vision on Vision. I don't like some of the ending details. I didn't really like the townspeople. I don't think have a very satisfying conclusion.
Sure.
Wanda like putting Agatha back into like torture time kind of didn't necessarily sit well with me in some ways.
Yeah, like that doesn't seem like a superhero thing to do.
Yeah. I don't know what they're doing with the character. I don't know if they're gonna make her evil. I kind of hope not. That would be if only just from the fact that like you have 2 female Avengers now, like maybe not turn one evil. I don't know. That's an idea. But like I hope they kind of don't go the big bad route with her, but I would love for it to be more into like the demon world, which it seems like we're going into, and all that kind of cool stuff. So
it seems like she's definitely expanded her power, expanded her breadth of what she is as a Scarlet Witch, because now she's kind of found herself, and so she'll explore that magic side more, which I think will be cool, because it was explained that it was like in Infinity Stone.
Yes. I like the retcons that they've done.
Yeah, but now that she's kind of understands where her power comes from and what her power means, I'm very interested to see what they'll do with her, and like maybe kind of some kind of training arc with her, because she has to learn this witchcraft kind of stuff, and then what she can do with that. Because Nathaniel, I think you've mentioned on pod before, maybe you just mentioned it to us off pod, but how powerful that Scarlet Witch has been throughout the comics. Sure. Sometimes she's been the most powerful Avenger because she has those probability hexes, which they mentioned in the show. Right. She says you use a probability hex where she can change the probability of anything. Right. So if they go that route, I think that'd be really interesting, because it seems like with the Spider-Man movie, they were going to try to hand it off to Spider-Man to take Captain, or to take Iron Man's spot as like the lead Avenger, or a main role, but then the whole thing with Sony happened, so now I think that's kind of dicey. So I'd be interested to see if that's where they kind of want to go with this and make her maybe more of a lead Avenger.
Yeah, that's it's not a bad idea, not a bad thought process. It'd be definitely very interesting for sure. I had a thought while you were talking there, and now it's gone. It's okay.
Sorry.
Don't be. It's all good. But I think overall for me, I'd probably give it like a B plus. to use a rating system we've never used before ever. But
I would go solid like 8.5 out of 10, 8 out of 10. I think that the finale was definitely a little anticlimactic for me, and it definitely fell a little bit flat. And I was really hoping for a lot more. And it makes sense that you say that it had COVID issues, production issues. So I wish there was a little bit more there, as far as the action goes, as far as what the characters were able to do, and it just felt a little stale, especially for what we're used to from Marvel. So. But besides that, I think the rest of the series is really good. The whole sitcom style is incredible. I think how they switch episode to episode and that evolves. I think that's really, really good.
Yeah.
And watching it week by week just added to that, because if it was all launched at once, I don't think you would get that same effect nearly as much.
Yeah, I love the week to week stuff. It's really gotten to me now. It's funny.
Yeah, it's a blast.
Like
I said,
that pendulum swings. It was week to week until streaming started, and then everybody just started dumping seasons, and now we're going back to maybe a little bit of more week to week, which is it's interesting.
It just puts people on a schedule. That's
and I think too
comfortable, and
I think it allows for more word of mouth building.
100%.
Which
people
and
come up with their own theories,
which I think is the like. Being viral is one thing, but word of mouth strength is like a completely different level of engagement for people. So I think smart companies are trying to do more of that kind of style again. And Disney,
it's smart.
Disney's one of the smartest. But yeah, what we're watching?
Yeah, let's get into what we're watching. Welcome back, any listeners that skipped over the WandaVision spoilers. We're gonna get into what we're watching here. Let's start with Blake this week. Let's keep switching it up.
Let's get wild,
man.
Let's get wild here, guys.
Yeah, I'm about to kill the whole mood, dude. I don't think I watched anything last week.
Reverse.
Yeah, I was trying to recall before I even got on here, and I don't think I watched anything, man.
Hey, that happens. Happens some weeks.
Hey, busy weeks. Yeah, busy weeks happen, man.
Busy weeks, man. But like I said, I just put it 2 weeks in for that, so I should have some more time here to start watching.
Make up for it soon.
Yeah, man, that's cool.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I guess Ty and Nathaniel, you guys want to go?
It's definitely a very small week for me as well. As I said, I think I was on pod at that point. Yeah, I was in Arizona for a large part of this, and it was a bachelor party, so we did not watch much movies or televisions. We did watch a lot of YouTube, so I got a lot of YouTube in.
Nice.
Because I was flying on the train or on the plane. There we go. On the plane, I got to watch a couple different movies. One of which was Big Trouble in Little China, which I had never seen before with Kurt Russell. That's a really fun movie. If you've never gotten the chance to see that, it's kind of quaint by today's standards, but it's John Carpenter, and like it's definitely a black comedy, I would say, or a kind of it's definitely a comedy overall, isn't it? It's basically Kurt Russell is a truck driver who gets through various ways comes in contact with the underbelly of Chinatown, who is kind of revealed are run by these old kung fu masters, like dark wizards. And so he like falls into this fight between two people to kind of or two warring Chinese factions to get his buddy's fiance back. And it's really kind of tongue-in-cheek. There's a lot of like kind of 80s action hero like commentary on there. Kurt Russell's really great. It's a fun movie, definitely worth checking out for sure. And then I was coming back when I flew back over here, I watched about 75% of the New Mutants, which from what everyone tells me is probably about the correct amount to watch of the New Mutants. It was fine. You know, it's a movie where I can see because I remember when it was coming out, it was like everyone was like, oh, it's going to be the first superhero horror film. They're going to do a horror film, but they're going to make it superheroes. And I was always kind of like, how? But okay. So they ended up doing a kind of like locked, it's supposed to be kind of like an asylum mystery style horror. And it's just one of those things where I can tell the director or the writer thinks that every scare that they do is going to be more scary than it is.
Like Shutter Island.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like Shutter Island. It's supposed to definitely be more like Shutter Island, but none of them are Martin Scorsese,
Right.
And like they just don't know how to hold tension on there. It's instead of it being like you don't want something bad to happen to the characters, and then something weird and crazy happens to the characters. It's like the character goes in the room and experiences a thing. So, like, why? Yeah. So, yeah, I kind of want to finish it just to see where it ends up.
Sure.
The kids, you can tell, are really trying to act. They're doing a pretty decent job.
Yeah.
It's just that movie just needed more thinking.
Yeah.
It feels
Yeah,
like.
it's not really a bad cast.
No, it's not. It's not. I think everyone's pretty good in it. It's just, yeah, it just needed more. It seems like more pre-production on there and kind of a stronger vision, maybe.
Sure.
But yeah, that was it for me this week, other than Boondock Saints. Like I said, really short week for me too, so maybe it was good we talked a little bit more about some other stuff during news and stuff like that. Tyler, I know you saw a new movie this week.
It did.
Want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, it was cool.
What'd you get to?
Leah and I went and saw Raya and the Last Dragon in theaters. So
Much to my chagrin.
yeah, I did. I didn't want to hide it from Nathaniel, so I texted him and I was like, "Hey, man,
they were going to the
confession,
movies without
I'm
me.
going to the movies without you, and I'm going to see a Disney movie, and I'm sorry."
Yeah, I was hurt, but it's
Yeah.
okay. You know,
Yeah.
I'm thinking about forgiving you. We'll see.
Well, I appreciate it.
Yep.
And yeah, no, it was a good time. There was like maybe 10 other people in there, and we were
Sure.
very spaced out. I saw it in Dolby. It was awesome.
Yeah, I definitely want to check it out.
You
Lee-
redid A-list, right?
Oh yeah. Because by the time I'm done paying for 2 tickets, it's like $40
Right.
with A-list, and the certificates that I had, it cost me $8. So
There you
it's
go.
like,
Did
deal.
you buy any concessions?
I did. Yeah, I said earlier that we got popcorn
yeah.
and a drink. So
Classic.
Yeah.
Classic choice.
cherry Coke, premium, with a hint of vanilla.
Cherry Coke is great.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's
Yeah.
that's the truth right there.
Those,
So-
those fountain machines, I don't know what they're called, but the ones where you can just choose whatever you Coke
Yeah,
drink you want, those are great.
it really makes you think of how soda's made.
Soda's made. Yeah, I always suspect that they're like
Beer
not
water, basically.
they're
Yeah.
not exactly the same, but like I feel like if you
Well,
got like a true Dr. Pepper and then
people
like the
have
mixed
done-
up Dr. Pepper.
People have done blind tests between like orange Fanta and Sprite, and like there's people out there that can't tell
yeah.
the difference.
Yeah, I have heard of that. I was
so
in
it's pretty crazy.
I was once in a psychology experiment, like when in college when you can like volunteer for
Yeah.
psych experiments.
Yeah.
So
Right,
there
right.
I was volunteering for a psych experiment.
Next week you were the nude model. For a
yeah,
painting
yeah,
class.
exactly.
Got it.
You got to pay for it somehow, folks. Student loans don't cover it all. But one of the experiments was they got the essence of all the different flavors of like Sprite,
Sure.
banana, but they didn't have any color in them. And it was, could you tell the differences without knowing the different coloring
colors.
on all this stuff? Yeah, and it was
How
really
difficult was
hard.
that?
It was really hard.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I can
Um,
imagine.
But yeah. Anyways.
So yeah,
Movies.
the movie theater was very fun.
Glad to be back.
Yeah,
That'd be
yeah.
the first one you saw since Tenet, right?
I think so. Maybe.
Yeah, we didn't see anything in between then.
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Yeah.
I'd have to go back and look at A-list.
Go through your movie stubs.
Yeah. Got through Friends a little bit more.
You're
We're
surprised with that. Well,
Yeah.
I shouldn't be surprised. There's like a million seasons, aren't there?
there's 10, but Leah, I remember we talked about it once, but Leah basically said like, "Hey, you should slow
Yeah, slow
down
down.
because you're gonna get pissed off when it's over." And I'm like, "You're right."
This is why
and-
you're in my life.
Yeah, exactly. My better half, literally. And then so yeah, it's been really fun so far. I'm very excited to kind of get to the end. I was at my parents' house over the weekend, and I was talking to my sisters, who one of them is just an absolute fanatic.
Yeah, you're getting close.
So yeah, she's the little dots in Friends, the colored dots between
Yeah.
the letters. She has the dots tattooed on the back of her neck.
That's nice. I like that
Yeah,
actually.
she's cool. She's cool as fuck. Shout out Abby.
Shout out, Abby.
And then, what else did we get to? Oh, I watched this. Justin was over the other night. What's up, Justin? And because he forgot his wallet at my mom's, idiot. And we were all just kind of sitting on the couch.
Fuck you, Justin.
We were all just sitting on the couch, and I was like, "Well, I'm just gonna put something on." And they brought like HGTV and stuff like that to Hulu.
Sure.
So I watched this thing about like container homes, and both of them were pissed. They were like, "We don't want to watch this." I was like, "Well, neither of you picked, so I don't give a shit." So I watched that. I saw like a lady make an office out of a container, and a family of 3 get their home made out of like 6 different containers.
Alrighty.
So it was cool.
Might have to check it out. Sounds like a good one that we would watch, like in the vein of Forged in Fire and Blown Away and stuff.
Yeah. And then we started Tron. We did not finish it.
Oh, that's right. We did start Tron.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool.
Tron Legacy?
Tron Legacy.
Okay.
That's the Disney movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Both one of both mine and Tyler's like favorite underrated Disney movies.
Yeah, man.
That's a pretty good movie.
Killer.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I remember seeing that in theaters, and just the sub, and you get all the lights and the video game, nerd in me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a blast.
And I forgot that was another one that was like at the peak of 3D technology too. And
Yep.
I realized I've never seen it in 3D.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that was cool at the time. But
It was
it's
a
also,
blast.
it's a really good movie in 2D too, which is a lot more than can be said than a lot of those other 3D movies that came out of the
and it's scored really well.
Daft Punk track
Yep.
is incredible.
R.I.P. Daft Punk.
Yeah.
I don't know if there was anything else.
I think we watched 1 or 2 episodes of Initial D, maybe.
I don't even know if we did that.
I think that was the tail end of this week or something like
Either
that.
that or it was like right after podcast.
Right after pod last week, yeah.
Maybe that's what it was. Other than that, I don't remember anything off the top of my head.
You played a lot of Valhalla this week too.
I did get back into playing Assassin's Creed. It's been a really good time. I think I put probably another 8, maybe 10 hours in this last week.
Okay.
So
what about you, Adam? What you been watching?
I've got a good sizable list. I will start off with what I forgot to mention last week is Little Women for my film class, which I watched, I guess, now like 2 weeks ago.
It's an excellent movie.
Yeah, it was really, really good. I hadn't seen it before, and it was it was a recent film that I know had gotten nominated and stuff at the Oscars and everything. But I was not expecting it to hit me as hard as it did. I cried a few times, like more than once in that movie. Like it has some really good emotional beats. Timothée Chalamet really stole it for me. He played this role that he doesn't like. He brought a lot of charisma, which he doesn't always do or doesn't usually do because he's more of a subdued, kind of mellowed out actor. But he brought a lot of charisma to this character, and I was really not expecting it, and it was really, really good watching him do it. But yeah, we the whole theme for that one was editing, and so obviously with the way it jumps back and forth in time and uses a bunch of jump cuts and some continuity and stuff like that. So really, really good watch. Highly recommend if anybody is interested. And then this past week for film we watched Psycho.
Classic.
Hitchcock classic. My first time watching it. Obviously it's one that you kind of know the premise of it. It's an iconic scene, the shower scene, of course. So I kind of knew what to expect going into it.
Did you know the story around it? Like because the shower scene in and of itself in a vacuum is kind of interesting, but like the rest of the story kind of going around it is also kind of fascinating too.
What story are you referring to? Are you just talking about the plot?
Yeah, I'm just talking how the plot sets up that scene in which you have Marion with like, did you know that there's a bag of money that's missing and everything like that? Like, that's what I'm curious what your knowledge level of the movie was before.
I hadn't known. Yeah, I'd seen that scene. I'd heard of the Bates Motel. Motel. So I kind of knew that kind of stuff, but I didn't know the premise. Or the entire plot as a whole. So it was watching it as a new movie, really. But really, really good. The whole theme for last week was sound. So that movie obviously uses sound rather effectively as it's iconic, the whole violin shrieking and stuff. But even besides that, it's got a really good score that definitely adds to the thriller atmosphere, and not just in that scene, but just in general. And some really good character psychology they can get into. So I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Really quick on that. Have any of you guys watched Bates Motel?
Yes.
No.
Okay. What do you think, Ty?
I love Bates.
Yeah, me too.
I got into Bates like right when it first came out, and then I probably stopped after like the 3rd season. Just because it wasn't like quite working out with my schedule, and I really didn't have like a good time to watch everything. But then I picked it back up after my stepdad really got into it. And I was like, oh yeah, baseball. I totally forgot about that. So I
Yeah.
got back into that, and we ended up watching the finale together, and it was just a really, really good time.
Yeah, I've never checked it out. I probably should.
Yeah, he's the
man.
kid's great. I forget the kid's name.
Freddie Highmore.
Yeah, he's absolutely incredible. A Good Doctor is another one of his TV shows. He's a very high functioning autistic kid who is like the most brilliant doctor on the face of the planet.
Right.
So yeah, it's a cool show. He's really great. But yeah, Baseball Tell's awesome.
I only watch him from August Rush.
Which is probably like in my like top 20.
August Rush, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Revealing.
I got a couple more things. Attack on Titan. I've been keeping up with that. I had 2 episodes to catch up on, so I watched those over the weekend.
Nice.
I believe we've hit a mid-season break in season 4, so I think there's 13 episodes, and so there will now be they're taking a little break. I don't know for how long, and then the second set of 13 episodes will come out. I mentioned last time I talked about it how it seemed to be building to something, and there's been a lot of plot development that has continued these last 2 episodes a little bit, but there's been even more complex plot development, but it started to make sense a little bit, and they left it a little bit on a cliffhanger for this like mid-season break or whatever you want to call it. So I still think that this ending is hopefully going to be wild with everything that's been building to, and I'm excited for it. I'm still really liking it. And then continuing on from last week, I finished season 1 of the House of Cards pretty much in one day. I sat down Saturday because I have that paper due in 2 days, and so I need to finish it over the weekend. So I sat down pretty much almost all day Saturday and grinded out like almost 8 or 9 episodes. I going back and rewatching this because I'd seen it before.
Yeah.
I've noticed a lot of things that I didn't the first time around just because I've taken more political science classes, I've taken more journalism classes, and now I've taken more film classes. Those are the 3 things that show kind of centers around. So it has a lot to play with as far as the messaging of it just plays with a lot of themes that not a lot of other shows like it play with, because usually you have shows like something like West Wing focuses on the executive branch, and the presidency and stuff like that, and you don't see a lot of shows that focus on the legislative branch. But this entire first season, he's working in Congress trying to get votes for bills, and you kind of see how that process works. And then on top of that, you have the whole journalist perspective where she's trying to get stories, she's trying to get sources, she's trying to get beats. And since I am a journalism major, and I have that kind of experience, I can kind of see the flaws and how they write that kind of stuff. But at the same time, it's entertainment, so you got to kind of let that stuff go. But there's just some interesting themes that they've been talking about, and they kind of, even though it's dramatized a lot, they kind of peel back the curtain on some interesting topics that kind of go on in Washington. So I kind of found it pretty interesting. And the whole Kevin Spacey thing, again, still not the greatest thing in the world, but I got past it. His separating the art from the actor, his performance is still really good. So
I remember, and I think that's good. I'm glad that you're able to see it that way, and I think you bring a pretty interesting, and like you are almost like the ideal candidate for that season. So it makes sense that you like it so much. I remember thinking it was really cool that like he was the party whip, and it was something I never heard of before and everything.
Exactly. That was a position that not a lot of people are familiar with, and something I had heard of before watching that show.
Yeah, I thought that was almost one of the more interesting things about his character, and I think you're right. And I remember if I remember correctly, the actual name itself and kind of the structure of the show, if I'm not mistaken, is actually based off of a British show, also called House of Cards. But that's all in like Parliament and everything, where like the whip, I think, is actually more of a well-known kind of figure in that kind of thing too. I don't think it's a one-to-one adaptation. I don't even think they even like did a whole lot that was the same. But I think that's also kind of interesting that maybe that kind of outside perspective is also what attracted like interest in this show to begin with too. Kind of what you were saying, that we don't have those shows about the legislative branch. We had like the West Wing, which everyone kind of considers maybe like the best political show of all time. This one shows that you can attack it from a different angle and kind of come up with different ideas too.
Yeah, so I'll be doing some more research and doing some more writing on that in the coming days. So maybe I'll update you guys on what I wrote next week.
Yeah.
Besides that, all I watched was some Big Bang and Modern Family at the end of the night. That's kind of like I've said before. I won't talk too much more about that, but been my kind of nighttime show there. So
Nice.
let's get into the main segment here, guys. Nathaniel,
Main
for
segment
the
time.
viewers, for
Sagamat.
the viewers, for the listeners at home.
We always say viewers, don't we?
I know it's just
Every time.
that's just habit for me. I don't
Right.
know why.
I think we're just used to hearing it too.
Yeah, you used to hearing it as well because I think a lot of podcasts nowadays have video. We just don't do that yet. So, for the listeners at home who are new here or maybe they've just forgotten, can you give them a rundown of our review segment here at Back Row?
Yeah. If you are new here, or maybe you're tuning into us for the first time in a little while or anything like that, what we do here on Back Row Banter in our main review segment is we kind of break it down into two sections. There's the non-spoiler section and there is the spoiler section. The non-spoiler section is going to be where we kind of go over the basic details of the movie, kind of the IMDb summary, year it came out, who directed it, all that good stuff. And we'll go over the plot summary up to a point that doesn't have any major details or anything like that. And also at this point, we'll give our general thoughts on the movie. Did we like it? Was it effective for us? Maybe we didn't like it. Maybe something didn't quite work for us. But at the end of it, we will have to make a decision, yes or no, would we recommend this movie to you guys? From that point on, it will be full spoilers. We'll be giving all our kind of deeper thoughts on the movie, revealing any big, huge plot points and kind of how that affected the movie and changed our opinion on it. And then once we've kind of come to a decision on that, everyone's kind of spoken their mind, we'll go on to welcome everyone back and see where it ranks on our Entropy list, which is our great big list of movies that we've ranked of all the movies that we've watched on Pod. So yeah, Adam, you want to get into it a little bit? Tell us about Boondock Saints.
Yeah, this is 1991. Director is Troy Duffy. I'm not familiar.
99, right?
Yes.
It's like 91.
My bad. That's my bad. I meant to say 99. Stars Willem Dafoe as Paul Smecker, and then Sean Patrick Flannery, and Norman Reedus are the main three leads here, as well as David Della Rocco, who plays Rocco. And
Norman Reedus is, I think, probably the person that most people are most familiar with, besides William Dafoe.
Besides Willem Dafoe,
yeah. But yeah, Norman Reedus obviously coming back to prominence after this one for Daryl on The Walking Dead, which has already been referenced earlier on the podcast.
Yeah.
Also
starring Bob Marley, who is my roommate's uncle.
Yeah, I don't think Tyler was here to hear that earlier on the podcast. But yeah, apparently Noah's uncle is on
not Noah. His name's not Noah.
Oh.
His name is Owen. But yeah, my roommate is from New Hampshire, just right on the other side of the border of Boston, basically. Like we're pretty close to Boston, but New Hampshire side of it. So and then he's got family all in the New England area. So his uncle is Bob Marley, who plays Detective Greenlee, who in this movie is kind of a butt of a lot of jokes, I guess you could say.
Shout out Bob. If you're listening, we like you.
Yeah.
Shout out Bob.
All right. Your IMDb summary reads as follows. 2 Irish Catholic brothers become vigilantes and wipe out Boston's criminal underworld in the name of God. I love that.
Right.
I love that. That might be again, we're not keeping track of these IMDb summaries. Maybe we'll go back one day and make an entropy list of IMDb summaries, but
the best ones are.
That is very, very good.
That is a great IMDb summary as IMDb summaries go. Now, yeah, I mean, I know Tyler and I have definitely seen this one before. We're kind of doing it for St. Patty's Day, just because it's happening. And this day actually takes place partly on St. Patty's Day, which I don't know if I remember was maybe a subconscious thought in my mind. But yeah, I don't know. Blake, had you seen this already? I know, Adam, you haven't.
No,
Yes,
that's
my first time.
watch too.
First watch for both of you.
Yeah.
Have you both seen this before, Ty, Nathaniel?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this was like, I remember this being like the cult classic, and I use this phrase a lot, but this is like another one of those ones that everyone's older brother had seen and like handed down to you, and we're like, no, you're gonna check this out.
Yep.
which I think is kind of the time period and stuff. I remember it being crazy for the amount of swear words that are in it.
For sure. Yeah.
Which I think like has just gotten to be less of an issue as we've grown
Yeah.
older, maybe. But like there was a time I remember when everyone like if there were swear words in a movie, you know, your parents would tell you yes or no or anything like that.
Yeah.
I remember having to like justify this one to my mom, be like, no. I swear it's a good movie. I'm just I promise. But what do you guys think?
I like it. It's at first I almost thought it was like a comedy or something. Just because there was like a lot of like the language and the dialogue, and there was just so much swearing, and I was like, I don't know if I'm supposed to be laughing at some of this stuff.
Right.
But the action is dope for sure, and
Yeah, I think it's
I'm
definitely
an action guy, so I'm cool with that. See some people get shot in a movie, you know what I mean? A few people swear,
right.
I'm cool with it.
I think it's definitely a black comedy for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought so because I'm like 20 minutes in, and I'm just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like as a kid, I remember being like, "Oh no, it's like totally thriller action." But like now, being older, I can see it more as like this like almost black comedy with kind of a mean streak in it, and like that I think is almost more satisfying. I almost have to look at it this way, at it that way for some points. I think kind of like what you're saying, Blake. It is there. It's definitely of its time in a lot of ways.
For sure, it's just dated.
Right.
Maybe dated's not the word, right? Because that makes it sound like it's now bad. Where I don't think it's bad, but
Maybe a
you
little
can
outdated.
certainly tell like, wow, this was made in like 2000,
Right.
or something like that. You know what I mean?
Adam, you want to go? What your kind of initial thoughts were?
I'm kind of in a similar boat to Blake. I like this movie. I don't think it's bad by any means. There are some parts I like more than others, and some weird choices here and there, but overall I do like it. I think for me, what kind of spoils this movie is the fact that we have John Wick now. and just John Wick is this movie on steroids, and it does everything, I would argue, a little bit better, down to the plot and stuff like that, down to the action, and so that's just how it is for me, because I've seen those movies first. But I'm looking back at this, trying to appreciate it for a movie that came out in 1999. I can see how this was really good. I can see how this was like kind of cool and actiony and all that. So I try to appreciate it from that point of view, and in that respect, I do like it a lot. It's got some good things in there. I like the kind of religious undertones to it that it keeps throughout the movie. So yeah, overall, I think I'm a recommend. I think it's a good solid movie, especially for St. Patty's Day or anything like that. But is it the best action movie I've ever seen? By no means.
Right, for sure.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think for me personally too, like it is a movie that has not aged particularly well, particularly in some scenes or in a lot of scenes. But like, yeah, I think kind of what we're getting at is the plot and the actual idea behind the kind of themes that it grapples with do not date. You know, they're pretty good. They're pretty solid stuff. You know, two guys feel that they're chosen by God to rid the world of evil scum. That's a fascinating story. We've seen it done before. You know, like we've got it, and like the way it goes about telling that story in this kind of series of flashbacks still feels pretty new and nuanced, everything. But like the references, the jokes, kind of the clothes around the movie itself, what you kind of set the movie in, those have all dated really poorly, and in particularly certain views on certain people have really not aged well. But yeah, it's. Do you guys know anything about kind of like the story of this movie or anything like that?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not, dude.
So,
the only thing I knew of this was that it shared a name with a cartoon I enjoy.
Sure, the Boondocks.
Yes,
which I think is
I've
streaming.
always heard of it, but I've never watched the movie.
It's streaming somewhere now, right? The Boondocks. Quick shout out if you want to get on that.
I think it's on HBO Max.
Yeah, I think we had it on one of our nudist streamers not too long ago.
Oh, yeah. HBO Max.
But yeah, Troy Duffy, the guy that made this movie, was the bartender at a bar that was frequented by Harvey Weinstein. And basically, this was prior to Harvey Weinstein being revealed to be a horrible, horrible person. But they were basically friends. They'd struck up a friendship there, and eventually Duffy, who was the creator, handed over the script, and Weinstein liked it and bought it from him, and then had him direct it and write it. Well, turns out when you don't know someone that well, they might be a little bit different than you were expecting. So Troy Duffy promptly kind of like squandered all of his goodwill and was like really choosy on who they were going to have as the actors and all of this kind of stuff. There's a whole documentary about it. It's called Overnight. But basically it led to the film having its budget slashed and for not being produced for a couple of years. At that point, they kind of went with this other smaller cast and kind of a different storyline and everything like that. But long story short, it is definitely one that is of its time for sure. And also kind of has these weird non-traditional writerly moments that I think are really interesting. And and once you kind of know the story about that, it kind of reads and watches like a first-time director kind of getting their feet wet a little bit more, or kind of like some of the choices that are a little bit stranger, you kind of understand a little bit more. I feel like it provides a really interesting context around it. But basically, because of that, Troy Duffy never made another movie except for Boondock Saints 2. And that's kind of like why that came around and everything. And David Della Rocca, who's in this movie, is a really good friend of Troy Duffy, and the role was written for him as well.
Have either of you two seen the second one of this?
I have not. I never felt brave enough.
Right, sure.
I have. You do not need to watch it.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it benefits from having William Dafoe. Obviously, he gives a really spirited performance.
Killer.
I think both the brothers are pretty good. Their accents are way more wavy than I remembered them being.
Yeah, they are.
Which is funny because apparently, like, one of the reasons that they didn't go with like Keanu Reeves or Ewan McGregor or something is because the director didn't think he could do a good Irish accent. Which, like, okay, bro.
They got these guys, right?
But yeah, I think they're both really good. I like Rocco as well. I think that's one of Tyler's favorite characters. Billy Connolly's always great to see. He's hilarious. But yeah, Ty, what are kind of your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think this movie's lost a little bit of its gusto for me, just kind of over the years. As you guys kind of stated, it's just, it hasn't dated as well as, some other movies in 1999, are or have. I think it's cool to see some little bits and pieces from other action movies that came out around this time frame, like like Mission Impossible. You get some action bits from there because you can tell that they're trying to pull from that because obviously Mission Impossible was a significantly bigger action movie in this time period. Back in like 90, I think 98 was Mission Impossible.
I can't even remember. Yeah.
But yeah, so I think it's still pretty good. I like the storyline. I'm a relatively religious person. I don't go to church, but obviously I believe in God and, stuff like that. And I have a cross on my wrist that's tattooed.
96 was in Mission Impossible.
96, wow.
Which was probably about the time that this movie started. Because as we said earlier,
it had
was
some
put in
budgetary
turnaround.
issues.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, obviously, like we've said, some of the language choices or dialogue choices have definitely changed. I think they say retard at one point.
Yeah, a lot of R bombs, a lot of F bombs.
Few N words, but
yeah, both F bombs as well.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they pretty much hit everything.
They do, and you can obviously tell that back in the late 90s, it wasn't Yeah, it's totally different time. You can't get away with that stuff anymore, so I think those are gonna make it a little bit harder for people to watch.
Yeah, it's just needless.
Yeah,
100%. The jokes don't really play that well. There's other lines that you could come up with.
They hit a female in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, that's not good either.
Granted, she's very big, and I probably couldn't get hit by her.
That one's almost played for the butch lesbian joke.
Yep,
it's
exactly.
Not good.
So there's some things in here that are a little bit dated. I mean, take a look at Scarface. It has to do with the mafia and all this stuff, and it's a completely different movie. But yeah, I still think this holds a special place just because of the cult following it had and kind of where it is in just overall lineup and how many times I've seen it. But I think after this most recent watch, it's definitely lost some gusto for me.
Yeah, it's always going to be one of those movies that kind of opened the door to cult movies for me. So it will always have an area of respect, definitely for me.
Yeah.
And it is just one of those kind of iconic, late 90s, early thousands ones that, like I said, your older brother showed you and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't have any issues saying that there is a lot about this film that I do not agree with anymore.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I think we're all on the same page.
Yeah, we're all good on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it is definitely, I still, it's worth a watch to me for sure.
Sure.
It's a fun time. It's not a must see for me, a necessary.
Yeah.
But it's still a recommendation for me.
I think I'm with Nathaniel on that, where I'm glad I watched it just because I've always been aware of what the film was, and I've never gotten around to actually seeing it.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So now it's definitely nice just that I can even have a conversation about the movie if somebody asks if I've seen it and things of that nature. Because to your guys' point, I mean, there's just a lot of people from 25 to 35 to 40 years old who have seen this movie countless times.
Yeah. Sure.
You know what I mean?
General recommendations. Have we gotten everyone gone around? Recommend for me.
I think we've gone around.
Yeah.
I would agree with Nathaniel. This is not by no means a must watch, but if someone said, "Should I watch this or not?" I would say yes. You probably should watch it. I think it's worth a watch. But again, Nathaniel hit it right on the head, where it's by no means a must.
Yeah,
watch.
like if you've listened this far and think that you would like this movie, you'll probably like this movie. If you've listened this far and thought that's not the movie for me, you don't have to watch it.
Yeah.
For sure.
So spoiler time? Should I play the spoiler music?
Let it rip.
Yeah, if you
Sorry.
I was
Pre-spoiler. I was testing the spoiler button on there, folks. Let Adam say what he's going to say. Gosh.
If you have not seen Boondock Saints and don't want it spoiled for you, go ahead and check the episode description where I'll put the timestamp to take you to our ranking up upon the Entropy list.
Hop upon.
All right, let's get on the spoilers here, boys.
I think we get better with that every week.
Hop upon?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting good.
I wasn't even looking at you.
Don't start nothing, won't be nothing. You know how it is.
Shit goes down.
Shit goes down.
They hit a fucking lady.
They shoot a cat,
that caught me
too.
off guard.
Yo, they don't shoot a cat, they explode a cat.
They annihilate a cat.
That scene was hilarious.
And they're like, "Is it dead?"
Yeah.
Yeah, he goes, "Damn."
Yeah, this movie's it's got a mean streak. It is definitely a lot kind of like, ooh, man, wouldn't go there today. Particularly the self-hating gay jokes really don't.
Yeah,
They do not stand up well.
Yeah.
The William Dafoe's performance is incredible. I think his character is interesting. I like the character note that he's
100%.
gay and how that affects his job. I think that could be really, really interesting.
Especially now, still.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I agree.
And how he like wins the respect of the other officers and something like that. But show me that. Don't show me him being a dick to other people because it's funny.
Yeah.
Or you think it's funny.
Right.
Like that's not an interesting character in any way. And definitely the like drag performance at the end. Again, while it's played for laughs and still kind of works in some ways, it's also just kind of like, I don't need that in the movie. We can figure something else out with that too. But those are definitely the two biggest things where like, well, this is not dated well.
Mm-hmm.
No getting around those ones. That being said, like I've kind of said, I think the core premise here is still a good, solid foundation. Everything still works. The brothers are both very charismatic. I think, for me at least, I don't know how you guys felt about it, but
they got good chemistry.
Yeah, and I feel like they feel like real brothers. I love that like they kind of have this. They have a really like, oh, it's all good attitude. Like they're in some ways they're kind of like Bill and Ted. Like they're just kind of like any problem comes up, and they just kind of float through it. You know. I think the storyline itself that these guys are chosen by God to become kind of like his right hands on Earth and everything, and like that's really interesting. That's a fascinating.
I feel like you could totally remake this movie today and absolutely capitalize on the 1999's faults.
Right, and I think
and come out with something spectacular.
I would almost lean more into that because it's really like if you're not paying attention. I remember watching this movie like it was the third time that I kind of like figured out what the actual plot is. They don't do a good enough job, and I feel like this is
they don't.
I feel like this is the product of a first time writer, first time director.
Sure.
It's station to station. You move from scene to scene, and it's not because like there's something driving the next scene. It's because the last scene's come to an end, so now we have to move on to the next scene. Yeah,
exactly.
That being said, I think the dialogue itself is snappy and witty and everything like that. Like I said, the performances I really, really enjoy. But overall, some of the writing is pretty weak, and the dialogue the jokes are just not okay anymore. But guys, you want to talk a little bit more about it, or what your kind of deeper thoughts were?
Yeah, I'll kind of dive into it. Like I said, I'm kind of with you guys on the most part. Funny enough, as soon as I started watching it, and then I realized, like, where do I know one of these brothers from? And I put it together rather quickly. That's definitely the guy from Blade 2.
Oh yeah, Norman Reedus.
Norman Reedus. Yeah. And that's the first thing. I was like, man, that guy looks so fucking familiar. And I just kept thinking of it like the whole time, and then I finally put it together. But yeah, I like it, guys. Like I said, I mean, it's not necessarily the highest movie on my list for any means. But I do like William Dafoe's character, to your guys' point. It is definitely interesting, obviously, kind of like the self-hating gay, right, or something of that nature. So I think you get way more context out of that if that movie's not made in 1999. Right. You know what I mean, to be very honest. But it just kind of stuck with what it is. So, I mean, I don't think I'd probably watch it again, but I don't know. I don't have too much to deep dive on this one.
What did you think of the way that they tell the story, where like you get everything up to the moment of action, and then you get the flashback? So then you get the cop's perspective, and then the rest of the action kind of plays out in the flashback. Did that kind of interest you at all, or make you?
Yeah. I mean, I could probably live without it. I think I would rather see things in like real time.
Okay.
But that's just me kind of nitpicking. You know what I mean?
No, I think it's totally valid.
Nathaniel is a recent, or I guess current film student. I did notice that as a certain choice, and I thought that was a really kind of interesting choice to have it that way, because it's not something you see very often, to kind of jump to before or after and then you get middle.
Right.
But I kind of like how they did it, because I also like how they weaved in, especially in the house one, where Willem Dafoe is part of the retelling. I really like how they played that in a little bit.
Yeah, I like that it that kind of ties them to the William Dafoe character a lot more throughout it, and so it's not always kind of like him chasing them. It almost feels like they're happening concurrently in a little bit, and I think that's a really smart choice on Duffy's part there. Exactly, kind of like which all comes to a head in that kind of scene where they're meeting their meet El Duce, and you get the great "there was a firefight."
Yeah, like the most famous line probably.
Yeah, is there was a firefight.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that was a really great stylistic choice on his part too.
Yeah, I think that's probably the only thing that like really drives the movie. That's one of the things that you can kind of see William Dafoe consistently on their heels, and constantly catching up in that last like kind of house in the scene, or the scene in the house where he's like on his knees and shooting the gun at the same time. It shows you that like he's like right there, but it's also extremely funny that at the beginning of this, William Dafoe's like, these guys aren't professionals, like look at all that, and then like by the time like they're in the room where they came through the ceiling, and then the strip club scene, he's like, these guys are like, he's like, two of these guys are amazing. He's like, these guys are professionals, hands down. Like, these were done professionally. And then, of course, it goes to the scene and everything's just like a shit show. And Rocco's like playing cowboy and shooting across his chest and everything like that. So I think there are definitely some really good things about this movie. I think the scene in where they go change in all the guns and everything from the Russian guys, and then they go into this cage full of stuff. And there's some witty banter there with the rope and the knife and Rambo references. Again, cutting into all those action movies that are kind of around that time period and what they're pulling from. But yeah, I think there's some funny stuff to this, and I think that's kind of the later part of my life that I'm seeing is how funny this movie actually is, and where they kind of pull all these things from. But yeah, overall, I think it's still fairly well done. I'd still recommend it to somebody that likes like the Starship Troopers of the world, and just kind of those cult classics and everything like that. Although Starship Troopers is an entirely different story and so much better.
Starship Troopers is the better movie for sure.
But yeah, I'm still a fan. obviously the jokes have dated. There's some really, really funny scenes in this, particularly with the cat.
The cat's a good scene.
That was my favorite scene.
The cat, and then I love the bit, I love the line where Rocco discovers it's them and just goes loose on this F-bomb tirade that lasts for like 30 seconds, but each time he's using it in like a different form. And then
pointed out.
Yeah, Sean Patrick Fraser was like, oh, I think it's like showed the utter diversity of the word or something. I was like, that's a great
the
line.
versatility of the word.
Yeah,
Something like that.
I wish you get a little bit more character development with the brothers. You do see a little bit, and it's so cool to see like where they came from and how smart they are, and they're speaking 8 different languages in the police station scene, and I think that's where you really get to see where William Dafoe and them kind of move together, and kind of you see where this is going a little bit. El Duce being their father is crazy.
I loved that reveal. Though. I thought that was cool.
Doesn't make any sense, but screw it.
Wild twist. And then his little saying at the end where they're like, "Do you know how long can we do this?" And he basically just makes this reference back to like, well, it depends on like how far you're willing to go, or how far God is willing to make you go. And so it's pretty cool. But yeah, overall, I'd say I'd still recommend this to people.
Yeah, I think I'm in that boat as well. If we were talking earlier using my other strangely system, my letter system, this is like a C-.
Yeah. This, like I said, this has definitely come down on my list.
I think so too.
This last watching, I definitely don't see it for what I used to see it as. But yeah.
What are you gonna do, right? Some things age.
Yep.
This might be a hot take, but I did not like the Rocco character.
What?
This wasn't a fan. I found him kind
funny
of annoying.
man?
I didn't. He was just really, he just kind of felt stupid. Like his choices were just dumb, and he felt like a dumb character. And I just didn't see why I didn't see why the brothers were like. I mean, I get why they were, but like if I was in their shoes, like I don't understand why you would put up with idiocracy and when you're going around doing hits, like.
Yeah, I mean he's the quotable one, right? He's the
funny guy.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be a comic
he's literally
relief, but
literally the funny man. Yeah.
funny man.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is Rocco's basically what drives the plot, right? So is it the performance you have an issue with, or just like the character itself?
Maybe a little bit of both.
That makes sense.
Because I don't know.
He's definitely
just something never felt right with me. I knew this was a character that was supposed to be like, oh, this is someone we kind of empathize with, we kind of think is funny and stuff, and I just never got that vibe. I don't know what, it just didn't hit home for me.
Yeah, I think he's
go ahead.
I think maybe he's the one that's like doing the most acting in the movie. He's kind of the one that's chewing the most scenery, and
Sure.
when particularly when he's paired up with like the brothers who are so kind of like go with the flow and kind of laconic, and there's mystery about them. I definitely can see how that would be a little bit more grating for sure. I think for me, and probably for Tyler too, it's like when we saw this and we're 13 and he is the funny character, he's like obviously awesome.
Yeah.
But like definitely watching it this time, I'm also like, wow, Rocco, okay. Blake, you kind of in a similar boat too? I know you were saying something before I cut you off as well.
Yeah, I think I might have lost my. No, Adam said he didn't really like the Rocco character. I was like, yeah, I don't mind him. He wasn't my favorite character. My favorite character is probably William Dafoe. But yeah, I don't mind the Rocco character.
Yeah, I love the what's the symbology there?
Yeah.
The word you're looking for is symbolism.
I think it's still always hard for me though to see William Dafoe out of the Green Goblin character.
Yeah.
This
is right before Green Goblin.
Yeah, I mean he is pretty iconic. I think maybe I've just seen him in so much stuff now that like I don't see that as much.
John Wick.
He's awesome in John Wick.
He is in John Wick. I forgot about that as well. Is he in the first one, or is that the second?
Yeah, it's the first one.
I kind of love his career choices. He kind of just does what he wants.
Yeah, he does. I still haven't seen The Lighthouse. I still think he's great.
We should watch The Lighthouse at some point.
Man. I'm a big William Dafoe fan.
Shout out.
You're a
William
big
Dafoe.
who fan?
William Dafoe.
It's Willem.
Oh, okay. Well, either way, Dafoe.
Well, I learned that too for the first time, Adam, when his name came across on the credits. I was like, it's Willem. Yep.
Willem.
Is
he
very easy to say
British?
William, but
Or
no, he's American.
no, I'm pretty sure he's American.
Yeah, he's
He's Willem.
there's a How I Met Your. I'm gonna say my story now. I know I cut everyone off all the time, so I'm gonna say my story now. There's a How I Met Your Mother joke in which Jason Segel like meets Peter Bogdanovich, aka the old film critic / director, and he's like, "Hey, have you ever thought about how Willem Dafoe's name sounds like a parrot or a frog saying the first part and a parrot saying the last bit?" It's like Willem Dafoe. And it's a great joke, and more people should watch that episode. There you go.
Oh, also shout out Ron fucking Jeremy.
Yeah, Ron Jeremy shows up in this.
Wait. Where?
He's
I didn't recognize
Vincenzo.
him.
He's the strip club murder victim.
Oh, that okay.
Yeah, famous porn star Ron Jeremy.
Yes.
I know of him. I cannot pick him out in a crowd, obviously.
He's also an extra in
for obvious
Ghostbusters.
reasons.
You can see him.
He's an extra in what?
He's an extra in Ghostbusters.
Oh,
Really?
Okay.
Yeah,
Again, just a guy, who does whatever the fuck he wants with his career.
Right.
literally.
Yeah, you almost got to respect it.
All right, are we ready for Hupapon time?
I think so. I think it's time for Hupapon.
All right, well, let's do a little welcome back to the listeners who jumped over the spoilers segment. We are going to go and rank the Boondock Saints up upon the Entropy list. For those of you who do not know, the Entropy list is Back Row Banter's official list of every movie we have reviewed, regardless of genre, regardless of anything else, all on one fantastic list. If you'd like to reference the Entropy list for yourself, you could do so by checking the episode description, where it is linked to my Letterboxd. The Boondock
folks.
Saints.
Boondock Saints. Where are you putting this guy?
Man.
Who wants to go first?
Who does want to go first? Does anybody have a spot they're looking like they know where it's at?
33.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I feel like this is a pretty strong candidate. I would actually had it at 34. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm feeling.
We
too.
all know how you feel about Wonder Woman.
84. No, that one's still above that.
I know.
Okay.
All right, I've got the list up. You guys said 33.
I said
Right.
33.
I said 34.
Thing is at 34.
So below Wonder Woman, above Borat 2.
Oh, okay.
And then Tyler would have
For
it
sure.
below Trick or Treat, above Wonder Woman.
I've got it coming in at 37.
Hey, I was gonna say, there's no way this thing is above Wonder Woman for me.
Yeah. Wonder Woman 84 is in an odd spot because I would like King of Staten Island way more than that. But
I think I would go 39.
39 all the way below High Tension.
Yeah,
I forgot High Tension's on there.
I was gonna say
I gotta show some love to High Tension.
Blake.
Yeah,
I was
High
gonna say
Tension's on
Blake
there.
has put High Tension or regarded High Tension higher than
Yeah,
some of the
a
other movies that
majority
are on
of these,
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so Blake's at 39. I'm at 37. I think is what I said. Yeah. Nathaniel, where you at?
She
I
said
had it 34, but to be honest, I could be argued to any of these other positions. I'm
Yeah, this doesn't
not
really
as
matter to me.
strong on this one
Yeah.
anymore.
Okay. Ty, where did you want it at?
I said 33 originally.
Okay, 33. I mean, middle ground between Ty's 33.
I was like, yeah, the happy medium be you, Adam.
Yeah, it would be
Basically,
mine.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, that or 36 above King of Staten Island, which I wouldn't be too upset about. So yeah, do we want to do 36 or 37 here?
Why don't we just put it up against IMDb between that and King of Staten Island?
We can do
Yeah,
that,
might as
sure.
well stick to the rules.
What is
Boondock Saints is a
Boondock Saints.
7.8.
all right?
Really?
And it looks like King of Staten Island has a 7.1,
Wow.
which means it's going to be knocked down on the list here.
I mean, this
Boondock
movie,
Saints-
there is a lot of like mildly aggressive white dudes that put this at like a 10% or a 10 out of 10 on IMDb,
yeah.
from all of 2003 to 2009. So like that's
Yeah.
definitely where that difference comes in. But
Yeah, when you said 7.8, I was like, ooh,
yeah, that's why I was kind of what I was responding to for Blake too, because I could tell he was like, "Whoa."
yeah, that's a lot higher.
Like
than
I
was
don't think
expecting.
I don't know if you guys like this was a huge movie among like
It really was.
unaffected white or
Yeah.
like kind of sad white dudes for a long time. I mean, Tyler, I think you said you have two friends that actually have the
Yeah,
tattoos.
I have. Well, friend is a loosely
Acquaintances.
they're
someone.
They're just a couple of buddies that I used to have in high school that I do not and have not really talked to in probably over a decade.
Sure, right. Nonetheless, you're just saying you know somebody.
But yeah, they have the tattoos that the brothers have on their hands. They have them on like the back of their triceps.
Are they brothers by chance?
They are not.
They are in blood.
They might share the same birthday.
That'd be pretty cool.
I think they share the
cool,
same
yeah.
birthday.
But anyways, yeah, that should give you a good example of the kind of people that were around this.
Correct.
All right, well,
so where's
we
that
have-
officially?
Yeah, we have it slotted in 6 above Wonder Woman 1984 below Wonder Woman 1984 and above The King of Staten Island.
Yeah, we really do need to do a redo on this list.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to reworking it a little bit.
You think American
In
Pickle's still 40?
Oh, for
40
sure.
It's 41 now.
For sure.
Yeah, I don't know if that one's coming back. I'm pretty sure if Blake, if we move that out of 40, Blake might quit the
Yeah,
podcast.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll
I
ever
don't
have
think
a
I can move
movie?
that.
Actually, we'll have to have a movie that's worse than American Pickle.
Could be
American
next
Pickle
week.
I don't know.
Could be
Nah.
Justice League, the original Justice
The
League.
original Justice League?
1.
Original
Yeah, that's
Justice
true.
League.
Could be.
You know what?
It could be.
I haven't seen it, so you guys would be better
Yeah.
judges for that than I.
To be completely honest with you, and I kind of hate to say it, I think that Godzilla vs Kong has a chance to be very bad. I think
Oh,
we'll
you think?
I think we'll thoroughly like it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Just because who we are, you know.
Yeah.
It can't be worse
but
than like. I don't think it's gonna be.
Wonder
I'm
Woman
gonna make a prediction.
1984.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a prediction. I don't think it's gonna be worse than Wonder Woman 1984.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I think it's gonna be close then.
I think just for
Blake,
sheer
keep the faith,
entertainment
bud.
value, we would put it above 1984.
Blake, this is your
Yeah.
franchise, man. I think
Yeah.
you gotta
Yeah,
keep the
Blake.
faith, man.
That's true though. Yeah. I guess I'm trying to look at it from a realistic manner
Screw
and not
realism.
necessarily my
You're
preference.
just trying
But
not to get your
I'm
hopes
with you.
up.
I hope that movie's good.
All right. Well, speaking of good movies, we're not reviewing one next week. It's we're gonna be doing a Justice League and Justice League Snyder Cut compare and contrast kind of episode a little bit.
Okay.
Essentially reviewing both of those movies.
Well, yeah, we're
So,
gonna try to
are we
keep
doing
it a
it in
little.
one
We're gonna try and keep it like the same time frame that these are. We're gonna probably run through the first one pretty quick, and then the newest, the Zack Snyder cut, we'll probably spend a little bit more time on, just because one,
Sure.
it's a 4-hour long movie.
Right.
Blake's probably
The
gonna have
other
to
one-
split that up, and
What'd you say, man? I
I
think it
said
broke up.
I said you're probably gonna have to split that one up.
Oh hell yeah, dude.
So yeah, it'll probably be hopefully we're gonna try and keep it the same length, but I wouldn't be surprised if we ran a little bit longer.
For sure.
Agreed.
Yeah, we'll play it by
We'll
ear.
make
I
it
think
work.
we'll be
What
all
day
right.
is Snyder Cut? Is that Thursday?
Thursday.
Or
Thursday.
or something like that? 19th?
Yeah.
18th.
Gotcha.
All right. Nathaniel, any 5-star reviews?
We do not have a 5-star review yet, but you could give us a 5-star review. And if you gave us a 5-star review, 1, Tyler will stop being mad, and 2, you can have your review read out on the podcast. It could be anything that you want, just got to be 5 stars. That's how that works, basically. It really does help us grow, helps more people see the podcast, helps it jump up in the algorithms for some other folks. So if you could do that for us, I would really appreciate it. Tyler will also appreciate it because he'll stop being mad. Blake will probably appreciate it too, and I would reckon that Adam might appreciate it as well. So
I
Yeah,
most
maybe think
definitely
about it.
would.
Yeah, it's been a long time, man, since we've
Been
had
a
5-star
minute.
review, so hopefully we can get one of those in here.
um,
Listeners,
knows
that'd be awesome.
but if you didn't,
And it
maybe
doesn't even have to be. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, you go ahead. You go ahead.
I was like, yeah, and it doesn't have to be anything long. You can go in there and say anything
That's
of good
true.
moral value, and we will read it aloud.
That's true. If you ever wanted to have something you've said read out on the airwaves, maybe you can request who reads it too. It doesn't have to be me. If you want Blake to read it.
absolutely.
Yeah, it really doesn't.
It could be anything you want. If you don't feel like you could commit to that, maybe you could just share the podcast for us. You know, just talk to some other folks. Say, hey, we got some friends. You know, they're talking movies. They're casual. They're cool. They're hip. You know, once you say that, it doesn't sound hip at all.
Would you
but
just
anyways?
would you describe yourself as hip, Nathaniel?
No.
Okay.
No, I would not. But you, I would.
Okay. Well, you describe me as hip.
Yeah,
Oh.
and thus the podcast is. It's a law of averages type thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
okay.
But yeah, maybe if God tells you to go and like kill people, instead of actually killing them, you could just give them our
Share
podcast.
it. Yeah.
Just like send them links or like throw out like our business cards, even though we don't have them. I don't know. I imagine them like tossing out business cards at people that just say
They're
Back Row
on-
Banter
they're on
with their,
order.
like website or like Spotify link, you know?
Yeah, like there's there's an arrow with a scroll around it, and someone's just riding down the street firing those into like trees or telephone lines.
That or I envision like maybe a money gun with business cards in it.
There you
Oh,
go.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
like
that one.
shooting
Yeah.
business cards at people.
A t-shirt
Yeah, I like
cannon
that.
that says Hupapon on it.
There you go. We got options for you, people. Why are you not sharing the pod in all these fun, creative ways? Oh man. Well, if you're not going to share the pod, please do follow the pod on Twitter at BanterRow, Instagram at Back Row Banter Pod, and YouTube is just Back Row Banter. And then our email for any questions, comments, concerns, grievances, or anything of the sort is backrowbanterpod@gmail.com. BlakeHolder, where can the people find you at, my man?
Yes, sir. Letterboxd. I'll be on there. That's BlakeHolder. And once again, I did not. Well, to my defense, I didn't watch anything this week, guys. So no, I did not log anything. But next week I will watch something. So I'll log it there. So yeah, you go ahead and find me on there. I'll pass it off to. We'll go to Adam this time.
Ooh. You can find me on Twitter at Aish24, on Letterboxd at Aish, and then Twitch whenever I get back to streaming. Who knows when that'll be? Twitch.tv/Aish. I'll toss it over to the future face of Twitch, Tyler
Hey,
Vidalis.
Hey guys, it's me. Real quick, seriously though, if we did say anything that offended you, or you know, if we just want to let you know that like that's coming from the movie, we're not saying anything to hurt anybody's feelings or anything like that. Obviously,
sure.
you guys know what our views are and how some of these jokes have kind of lost their luster with probably most of the regular people that are probably going to watch this. So yeah, if we said anything that offended you, we definitely don't mean it. But basically, like what all these guys said, share the pod. We'd love to grow. You can find me on twitch.tv/El Trabajo. That's ELTRABAJO 87. And Instagram, Letterboxd, Twitter, all Tyler Vidalis, VIDALES. Nathaniel, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Letterboxd at NSGengark, or on Instagram at NathanielG92. I also occasionally show up on Tyler's stream.
Yeah.
Two guys, one stream.
Two
we
dudes,
call
one
it.
stream.
It's a good time. So if you ever wanted to see my face, you can catch me on there.
See his face on my stream.
That's right. Also follow Sandpiper Tapes. That's a great one as well. That's my other podcast that I do that's more kind of creative and stuff. Hoping to be doing more with that soon, so keep a lookout for that. And I think that's all I've got. Aish, bring us on home.
All right, well, that's been it for episode 43 Back Row Banter. Please join us next week for Justice League 1 and 2. I guess you could say.
I am excited for this, by the way. It's like
I
watching
don't know
an
how to feel.
explosion, but I don't know what it's going to
And
be.
it's another movie that none of us have ever seen.
It's true.
There you go.
Brand new content. I'm excited for that.
I haven't seen either Justice League or Snyder Cut.
I was going to ask that, Adam, because I remember you saying you haven't seen it, and I was
Yeah.
curious if it was still kind of
Yeah.
the same stance. So yeah.
And I think what it's going to be is I've got that 14-hour drive down to Florida, so I might just be watching one and then loading up the
Just
next
shotgun
right
in
after.
another.
So what, like 7 straight hours of Justice League? I can't wait.
You're going to be real fun for that podcast.
Oh man. All right. Spread some love, everybody. We'll BRB.
Be excellent to each other, and as always, we'll BRB.
Thanks for stopping by. We appreciate the listen. Like I said earlier, please share anytime you get the chance. We'd love to grow and kind of see where this thing goes. We've been busting our asses pretty hard. And yeah, we would just like to, maybe see the fruits of our labor, pick it from that tree. So
Yeah.
We definitely appreciate any kind of, sharing you can give us. And yeah, we just appreciate you stopping by. But yeah, love everybody. That's always a big thing. And just make sure that, give somebody a high five. I don't even care if it's
Yeah,
COVID.
I'm happy, man.
If you don't want to give them a
Have
high
a good
five, give them a fist bump. So,
Ooh.
but yeah, thanks for stopping by. BRB.
Socially distant fist bump.
Yeah, good choice of words. Yeah, I'm on the same boat here. obviously we kind of had daylight savings time here, so it feels like you got a little bit more to your day.
True.
I would say make sure no matter what you're doing every day, take out the time to do at least one thing you thoroughly love.
I was about to sit down to start recording, and I was like so taken aback because it was still light outside.
Yeah,
it hadn't been light outside
for
for months while we recorded.
Yeah, it was like 7 o'clock. I was like,
yeah,
wow.
it was like 7 o'clock, and I was like, "Is it supposed? Like, am I supposed to be recording? I don't know. This felt weird, but yeah."
But yeah, that's all I got for you guys. So we'll be RP.
America. Ready for another lesson.
Tyler is either really enjoying his chicken or really enjoying his chicken, if you know what I mean.
Oh God.
He says he's grabbing water and then he's ready to go.
I've heard that before.
I don't even know what that means. Nobody knows what it means, but it's provocative.
It's provocative.
Gets the people going.
Gets the people going.
Got the Oscars noms out. Have you seen them yet, Nathaniel?
I kind of glanced at a couple of them and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, after how shitty the Oscars have been for the last kind of couple years, they need to like win my respect back.
How do they do that?
I don't know. Just picking different movies. They've got a more interesting crop this year.
Yeah.
But also like it's like a more interesting crop of the same things. You know? It's like it's diverse and ethnically different, and you know, there's a lot more representation, but it's still a diverse group of people making still kind of similar content in terms of like
Oscar bait.
small family dramas, or like, and like, not that that's the, you know, because some of those, you know, like a film like Nomadland, like that's pretty much the only way you can make that film, right, and get it funded and get it and everything on there, or make a film with that message. But then other things, it's just like, I don't know. It's also just like I personally would like to see something else like beyond just those kind of thoughtful pieces get like more representation in there, like big blockbusters, or that are like really effective, or you know,
some horror films. Maybe
so some more genre film. Yeah, that kind of like science fiction, that kind of stuff. But rather than just kind of like it's always these dramas thing. And then there's like a kind of an old joke among film critics and in the film industry that it's at the Oscars, it's never best, it's always most. So it shouldn't be best directing, it should be most directing, or it shouldn't be best acting, it should be most acting, meaning that like they have a habit of not rewarding people that showed up on the day and delivered a performance that really you know, helped the movie or something like that, or and was subtle. It's always someone that's like doing something big, losing weight, gaining weight, putting on a big accent, like chewing the scenery. Like, that is that good acting, or is that like just doing more? Whereas like, how do you reward someone who, like, you know, they're on the day, the script changes and they're able to change the character and flow with that without having to go through a huge process or something like that? How do you, is that not better acting? You know, it's all this kind of relativism that you get into with that kind of thing. So I'm just interested to see what they're going to do. It's definitely the award show I pay the most attention to. But,
same. I think this is the award show of all awards.
Yeah.
Awards,
but the year Green Book one really just broke me.
Yeah, last year.
Like,
well, I guess 2019.
Yeah, I just after that I was like,
that was really disappointing.
I guess.
Hey Tyler.
What up? I've heard, I don't know if this is true or if you know if it's true or not, but I've heard for Best Picture, they like, it's not whoever gets the most votes, it's majority winner. So they take a poll, and if nobody gets like a resounding amount of votes, I don't know what the number is. Maybe it is above 50%.
Sure.
But then they'll knock off the bottom movie, and then they repoll, and then they keep going until one movie is 50%.
Yeah. I don't know actually.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
I don't know how true that is.
Yeah,
Like I said.
I'm not sure either, to be honest with you. I don't really know
Yeah.
anything about their voting process, but it could very easily be flawed. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, and that would make a lot of sense because
Sure.
then it ends up just being the most okay, the most all around okay movie that
Right.
everybody
Or the
loves.
one that just everyone can
Rather-
agree on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the one everybody could agree on, rather than something a little more stylistic that appeals to
Divisive.
another. Yeah, that's a little more divisive.
You're
You're